This is Charlito Parsons for the Stomping Ground, powered by Whale Hydrate and available on DAZN. Francis, there's a little bottle of red in the back. You liking the wine at the minute, sir?
Big red wine fan, mate, but I haven't drunk that, and yeah, I haven't touched that, mate. There's lots of stuff in the background.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice little view actually going on in the background, by the way.
it is, mate. To be honest, this is downtown Dallas, beautiful place.
Shout out downtown
Who's
Dallas.
in the background walking along the mirror? Have you got a new missus?
No, my pal was clearing up all the shit in the gaff from last night. I had a few
Oh,
around and
had a
there's,
bit, yeah,
yeah, yeah, there's just stuff
yeah.
everywhere. So he's like,
Got a
oh,
bit. You've got to be a bit focused. You have. You're losing your.
losing me touch. I'm not
Yeah.
actually on the screen.
Right. So it's just what I can see.
Just what you can see,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
And
anyway.
shout out my dog as well.
Yeah. There's the dog.
Uh,
Siren Sister Massive. Let's go.
Just a massive indeed. Right, let's talk last night. Firstly, I suppose the real winner for Matchroom was Katy Taylor. Eddie looked ecstatic afterwards.
Yeah, he enjoyed it. He enjoyed himself in there. It was an interesting week, but to get the win, to come across always it's always fun coming across to other promoters shows and get a win like that. It was a close fight, a very close fight, but a tremendous win for Katie Taylor, and she just continues to cement her legacy. What she's done in this sport over the years has been insane, and that was really should have been the main event last night. That fight.
So it's funny you say that because obviously we see the clip that's circulated of Eddie Hearn not being allowed to sort of go up and talk at the post-fight press conference with Katie. He obviously did go and do that in the end. I don't know whether that was just a right, I'm going up there. I saw what Brian Peters did, what a legend he is. What was the hospitality like in the build-up?
Not great. I mean, like for example, I wasn't given a pass to events to go to the event. I just got my ticket and wasn't allowed backstage. And they said, "Well, that's what was in the contract, is what you got." I said, "Yeah, but when we do a show with you, we have 25 people back there and don't have a problem with it." So, look, there's just courtesies in this business of you look after each other, and didn't really get that reciprocated. But it is what it is. It is what it is. You don't. I'm not too precious, mate. To be honest, I had a good seat. I sat there. Never spent so much time in a seat all night at boxing.
I was going to say, that's not like you at all.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not precious, Parsons. It's about the fighters. Who gives? I don't really give a shit about a pass. I think it's petty, but we get on with it, mate. But Eddie enjoyed himself in the ring.
So I had a little chat with Brian Peters earlier. Obviously, congratulated him, and he said that everything to Team Taylor was obviously very hospitable. To Matchroom wasn't as such. You talk about your experience last night. Was that just the case of the whole week?
Yeah, I'll be honest. They didn't let Eddie into the changing room They tried to stop him going into the changing room at the weigh-in, for example. And look, it's just courtesy of promoters. Like I say, we've had MVP fighters on our card multiple times. We look after people very well. I actually take pride in looking after, especially opponents, quite well, because I think we're in the same business. It's a small business. We all work together. And look, you can say, "Oh, you're supposed to get one pass, two pass." Well, I've looked after so many people over the years, but it is what it is. That's the way people do business. That's the way people do business. Like, I'm not going to read into it too much, but you know, everyone's different, Parsons. You just have to get on. If you had an ego, it would be different. But who cares?
Hmm. Is it fair to say that I suppose this is all off the back of the lawsuit stuff where they tried to squash it and then now it just I believe it's still going on?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. There's probably an arrogance there as well. And look, I even said to Nikki, I don't personally always see eye to eye. But I said tremendous event. Tremendous. Look, you know me. I like events. Like my focus in the business is putting on great shows and events, and I respect what they did there as an event, as a spectacle. I don't. I didn't love the main event in terms of it. It's not boxing, but that's not the product. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like tens of millions of people, I'm sure, tuned in, but that is not the product that we're into. Do you know what I mean? So, like, but I don't disrespect what they did. Like, it's more like WWE in a sense than boxing. You have to separate the two. But I can't. I'm not the kind of person going to sit here and say, "Oh, it was terrible." It's just not what we're all in. Do Do you know what I mean? Like if you're in boxing, if you're sort of you've worked in boxing or in any way over the years, you can't sit there and go a 58-year-old fighting a 27-year-old is good for boxing, but it has a place. Look at the arena. It was packed, the stadium, sorry. So, like, again, it's two different things. You have to sort of separate the two. And I can sit there as much as I will have a view on some, or I think the way things have been treated, handled, etc. I still sit there and go, fair play. Like, looks amazing. I'm not, we're not those type of people, and you just have to kind of rise above it. But like I say, it is two completely different things. I'm delighted for Katy Taylor, and a massive win for her.
Three cards all at 95, 94. Razor close. I mean, how did you have it, coming to the end of the final bell? Did you think she'd done enough? And what did you make of the sort of comments from Team Serrano?
I thought it was very close. I don't think you could say it was a robbery. We've been on that. I think Eddie said it well as well. We've been on those fights recently where it's gone either way and it's gone the other way against us 3 or 4 times. And you can't stand there and say they're robberies. Like, don't get me wrong, if the scorecards were 98, 92, different story. But, and I think with 2-minute rounds as well, it's so fast paced. Scoring those fights, you can get such different scores. But I think at one point the commentary had Amanda Serrano 4-0 up
Mm.
after
I
obviously
think
after
there
four
was a
rounds.
lot of questions around the commentary in general yesterday.
Yeah, I can't comment on it because I didn't listen to it, obviously. But it was a close fight. It was a close fight. But I think Katie, after 5 or 6 rounds, changed her style and knew what she had to do. But as always, respect to both of them because they went for it, didn't they? Just like that first fight, they did not stop throwing punches, and credit to both of them. And amazing. It was an amazing fight. And they got the respect it deserves as a fight.
It's funny now with Katie Taylor because you almost know going into the ring that she's not going to be that purest boxing best that we knew her coming out of the Olympics, and maybe you would have sort of said 3 years ago we would have got from Katie Taylor. But one thing we know is that, oh my God, she will bite down on that gum shield. She'll grit her teeth and she will just absolutely go to war and leave everything on her shield, which is what she did last night. Do you sort of think as a business now there's only so many of those fights that you can have?
Yeah, I think also it's not just about like she's 38, so she'll be getting to the point of over the next year or two, like she'll decide when she wants. But there's also the opponents as well as to what fights are left for her, if
Mm,
that makes sense. Like she's fought nearly everybody in the sport, and it's what drives her as well. You know, she's become undisputed, like she's done it all.
mm.
She's probably got 15 belts at home across all the weights and everything. So she's done everything in the sport. So it's what drives you now. Like what fights drive you? What fights make you want to go out there and do it? Is it going back to Ireland in a huge stadium? Like there's so many things still to be done.
That's still
But
realistic. I know your
it,
man Big Ed Sheeran always wanted to be able to deliver her a live ring walk, and that was in discussions, but just never materialised. I mean, is that what you guys as a business want to offer Katie now?
I think from a spectacle standpoint, yes. It's just that it has to at the same time that the numbers have to stack up for
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
because they have to make sense as well for Katie. And if it's expensive, it all plays into it. So I would love there's nothing more that we would love to do than a fight at Croke Park, obviously. But it's just the reality of making it work. And you can never say never, but we'll have to see.
What sort of opponents do you look at now, mate? Do you sort of go, okay, well, start looking at the third fight with Chantel Cameron? Do you look at a trilogy with Amanda Serrano? What names out there still excite you for Katie Taylor?
I think people would love to see an Amanda Serrano trilogy again, even with two. But whether that's what Katie wants to do, like Chantel Cameron, people talking about as well, one or like it's going to be what she decides. Katie is really the power in the sport of, especially for people's paydays as well. I've got to be honest. Like what she generates, what she creates. Like I said to her, we just had breakfast this morning. I said to her, 3 of my best nights, I'd say in like out of my top 10 involve her.
Mm,
Even when she, that first Shanzo, just the events and the spectacles and the passion people have for her,
yeah,
like, and also I think she's never changed. Like there was the same 4 people around her last night that have been around her since she started. No one else. And it's like, it's quite amazing to see because we work with so many people who have success, change over time. She has always remained the same. And that's also nice to be around those people. Like you mentioned, Brian Peters there, Thomas Rohan, Muttley is better known as Ross, and obviously Mum as well. Have always been around. And you think for a person of that magnitude, and like what she's done in the sport, to not bring new people, like you've seen it over there. You see like these people with entourages of 15 people in a four rounder, and
Yeah.
it's like this is just. I think that's why the relationship is so good as well.
No bullshit
Because
with Katy, is there?
what's that?
No bullshit with Katy.
No, she's just a good person, and like she's great to be around as well. Great character, and I think we've that journey we've been on and what she's done in the sport is just amazing to see. And I think last night just you saw the passion as well from Eddie. I'm always much quieter. For any fight we're involved in, I'm always a lot quieter. But you saw the passion for Eddie and what it meant, and it's great to see.
I suppose just lastly on that fight as a whole, what did you take away from, I suppose, Team MVP, Team Serrano's taking? They were very vocal about the use of the head, sort of implying that Katy was a dirty fighter. Now, like I say, I think a lot of that's done on emotion. Serrano's come out and said, no, 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 look, I really respect her and admire her.
Mm.
And we sort of kind of knew that, but they were still pretty vocal on the MVP side. I mean, just your reaction to that?
Yeah, look, I mean, they were vocal throughout the fight, and then they get pissed off with Eddie's reaction. But they were doing stuff throughout the fight, like when the ref took the point away. Like it is what it is, and like you say, it's emotion. Like you can read into it as much as you want. A lot of people get emotional there and then look back, and go, "Oh, should I have done that? Should I have said that?" etc. So, like, I don't read into it too much. It's always better afterwards to sit down and discuss it and talk about it and have a more, sort of a view with a bit more of a relaxed space.
Just a quick couple on the main event itself. I can feel like I'm losing your bicep where you keep having to hold the camera up.
Yeah, I know. I'm not that strong.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of what I expected in that 14-ounce gloves for a reason, 2-minute rounds. Sort of why I kind of expected Jake Paul to, if he saw the opening, to just box off the jab a little bit like he did. But it wasn't great fun to watch, but it is a 58-year-old man who was fighting there. What did you make of it, Frank?
I found it quite sad, to be honest. Seeing Mike Tyson, like obviously a legend of the sport, going in there against a Disney star, essentially, you know, I found it quite sad to see because you could see like his movement. Look, Mike Tyson, it's not Mike Tyson of 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 30, he's a 58-year-old man,
Yeah.
and I found it amazing that he did that for 16 minutes, basically chased Jake Paul around the ring, and, you know, it's a different thing, isn't it? It's like I say, it's a completely different thing. It's embarrassing for me. Like, when you sit there and you watch Jake Paul and Nikisa afterwards going, he boxed his head off, you outboxed him. It's like, mate, how are you saying that with a straight face? Either they're great actors, and fair play if they are, because it's working. I mean, look at again, I go back to the point of it's a different thing. Or they're just so delusional. And this is where I think with Jake, it's a bit of delusion of, you know, he actually thinks he's a great fighter.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's,
he's just calling out Canelo and McGregor.
yeah, yeah. And if I was Canelo, right,
And
and
I
I could make,
actually think that he thinks he could beat them as
yeah,
well.
if I was Canelo, though, I completely get, he would destroy Jake Paul within about 32 seconds.
Yeah, if you're Canelo, I would actually like
I
financially,
would,
you'd
yeah,
probably take the fight.
but also Canelo has made an absolute fortune in his career. And
Yeah,
he might just have too much pride to go, do you know what, mate? I'm not embarrassed like this
which
sport.
probably is the case.
Yeah, and fair play for that. Because otherwise you'd be thinking, this little, I'd love to just go and shut him up. But again, I go back to the point of credit for what they've done because it's more like wrestling. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, as in the product.
It was on Netflix. Look at that. I mean, that was
Yeah. Yeah, and I have the utmost respect from a business standpoint. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
In terms
I'm
of putting
not,
on an event that people are going
yeah,
to be talking
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
worldwide. Yeah.
But there's a balance between, and I said this to a lot of the boxing people around because I feel like people in boxing or within this world are quite touchy. right, oh, you said this about this and that. Why would you say that about this? And it's like, if you're in boxing, right, and your job, you work in the business of boxing, you cannot watch that main event last night and go, this is good for the sport of boxing in terms of from a professional standpoint.
Mm.
From a entertainment factor and people, you know, people viewing,
Mm.
yes, it's completely different. But you can't, with a straight face within boxing, go, yeah, it's great for boxing, a 58-year-old fighting a 27-year-old.
I agree. I agree.
But, you know,
Thank you very much for your time. Very quickly, are there any ever chances that we could see the Taylor-Serrano fight over 12 threes? I feel like the fights have been too short and we've almost been, don't get me wrong, they've been incredible, but we've been spoiled a little bit in that. I remember that night in the Garden in New York, everyone wanted another round or two, and I think you could probably say the same last night. Do you maybe look at trying to do that over 12 threes and make history there?
I don't look, my personal view. I think when someone's boxed their whole career over 10-2s,
Mm,
you know, like your whole career in the game,
mm.
I don't think so. That's just me, my honest view. You know,
Maybe
like, I think I think there has to be an overarching change in the rules completely. It can't just be like it's this or that. You know, I think there has to be set, just like there is in male boxing. It's
yeah,
not a world title could be 10-2s or 10-3s or 12. Like you can't choose. Do you know what I mean?
take poor Mike Tyson.
Yeah, no, 8-2. I know, but again, that just showed. But you
Yeah.
know, so but don't. I'm not getting any more trouble.
All right. Antigua to Philadelphia to Dallas. You're home, Frank. Where's next for you? Brighton?
I'm going home. No, I'm going up. I land. I'm going up north for an event. Then I'm not boxing. Then I'm back to London. Then I'm going to Vegas for the F1 on Thursday. So I'm coming back from Dallas to go back out to Vegas. Doesn't make sense. Got some meetings. Don't ask any questions. And I'm really just chasing that 100 flights in the year. It's very close. So I'm
Where are
just,
you at?
mate. At the minute, I'm on 98 till the end of the year. So I maybe just add in a little flight from Brighton
Dubai
to
too for
London
the
or
sake
so.
of it now, yeah.
Yeah, just take off and land again somewhere. So
There's certain people that would absolutely hate our footprint.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'll plant some trees.
Frank Smith, thank you very much for your time as always. Look forward to catching up soon.
Cheers, Charlie.